Well, normally when you take a trip to Japan, you want to go there for the anime, the manga, the maid girls, those little maid cafes out there, or you want to take a trip back in history, which there's so much history in Japan. It's so many beautiful places you can go, so much obscure places that are just like, they just wait for you to take a trip there for 'em. Then there's the food and the unusual stuff that's out there, the arcades, what's left of the arcades, actually. But now what we're hearing is that sex tourism has increased. It's almost at an explosion level in Japan right now.
What are you doing? You're not leaving.
Linda, you heard him.
And basically, this is not uncommon. Asia has always been a hot spot for sex tourism, depending on where you go, whether it's Thailand, Vietnam, many places. And, most of the places, they're illegal for this to happen. But in some cases, they turn a blind eye in certain directions on there. Or it's mostly underground, which basically it's not out in the open. But there are groups that basically can direct you, which has happened before. And they've been trying, in fact, on this side of the world, they've been trying to put them out of business. But we're going to delve into this from Otaku USA Magazine. But before we start, don't forget to comment, like, share, and hopefully today's the day I earn your subscription. We really thank you for those of you who have. If you haven't yet, please take this moment, click on that video, click on the subscribe, share it out also. We really do appreciate the motions on there. And if you're interested to basically help us here at CutiCast TV and Man with the Show, you can, besides the subscription portion, we have our own T-shirts out there available. T-shirts, mugs on there. Description below. Also, if you just want to give a monetary, you want to send us a cup of coffee to that nature and all that. As we begin to expand the YouTube and Rumble, right now you can do it right below there. There is a option to click on that, and it will take you to a site where you can make a monetary donation. And for those of you who have already helped us that way, thank you very much. We really do appreciate it at this time. So, reading off on this, how social media is spurring sex tourism in Japan. Anime and manga tourism are big businesses in Japan, but according to a new report, sex tourism is also seeing an increase in presence in the country. According to the French news organization Agence France Presse, or AFP, there is no official data on these numbers, though their evidence indicate that social media is helping the spread of this tourism by bringing more overseas clients into the country. The majority of the clients seeking out Japanese sex workers are mainly arriving from Asian countries like China, South Korea, and Taiwan. They also get a number of clients from North America and Europe. Typically, the clients don't speak Japanese, and they use apps on their phone to translate for them. The sex workers who spoke with AFP describe themselves as self-employed and say they use love hotels to do their business, which, love hotels are a big thing out there. The workers see some benefits in getting foreign clients. Non-Japanese people are less likely to be undercover police officers. They often pay better than the Japanese clients, and they usually do not try to negotiate on prices. Azul, a 19-year-old sex worker, stated that in the best case scenario, I can charge a client 20,000 yen per hour with a condom, sometimes a little more. That's about $140 an hour US. One impetus for foreigners to be interested in traveling to Japan for sex tourism is that though penetrative sex work is illegal in the country, clients who are taught are not charged or arrested unless they did something illegal in addition to being a client. Instead, the workers themselves are in legal trouble and they might be fined or put behind bars. Part of the reason we see an increase in prostitution in Japan is because of the financial worries as the yen has weakened. Some of these women who get into sex work do so because they are escaping from abusive scenarios and are in desperate situations. It's more toward the desperate situations lately. Because if you notice, a lot of the videos that come out of Japan, you see a lot of young people on the streets. They might face more abuse from the clients. Police have been making efforts to crack down on the sex work, and it was one of these cases that led authorities inadvertently to anime producer Kochiyu Aitu, who was arrested, found guilty, and sentenced for rape and breaking laws related to child prostitution and child pornography. Now, a lot of you might start to blame Japan, say, "Oh, blame the anime, blame the manga for this," and all that. Prostitution is one of the oldest jobs on the planet. It's been around a long time. And the thing about it is, you have situations. Now, in the case of Japan, and this is why, in a way, this is how you look toward legalization. Most of these girls that are on the streets of Japan, they don't have pimps. They work themselves. It's better that they work themselves because they understand. Even in a regular job situation, companies, you've heard the story. They really overwork a lot of these workers. Some of these girls, and probably there's some of the guys who are doing this as well. They're taking their leisure. In other words, they're not overworking themselves. They're just getting enough to survive on the streets of Japan. To the point, maybe some make better than others. We come down to the child trafficking situations and prostitution. That in itself is not people on the, in a way, not people on the streets. This is mostly the mob, the gangs that are pushing this, which is similar to what's going on here in New York City. On Roosevelt Avenue, Queens, you have those out of China, Venezuela, and many other countries that are pushing prostitution in this country by taking people, kidnapping them, and bringing them into this country and forcing them to work. This is why we need a overhaul on the industry itself, the sex worker industry. And the thing is that we can make it legitimate. There is a way of doing it. Can it be done overnight? No. Fuck no. There is no way of doing it. It has to be, the industry has to be cleaned up first. They have to go after the human traffickers. That's the first thing. That's the major first thing that they have to do. Put them out of business. But we can't do that without the help of DAs and judges and government itself and law enforcement. We have the situations here in the U.S. where basically judges are taking upon themselves, or district attorneys, to basically either, set these people free back onto the streets of, America itself. We have that problem here in New York. Now we have the Trump administration cracking back on these judges. We've already had 2 judges arrested of late because of what has been done with some of these illegal migrants that, I don't know if both of them, but one of them was in the human trafficking business, according to court documents. And most of these guys have been kicked out of this country more than once. Now, this is not something that's really happening in Japan, but there is a trafficking problem there as well. When it comes to underage children, how young, you take a pick on a number, and it's shocking. It's shocking in itself. And and like I said, it is controlled by the mob. The mob has been getting a little bit stronger in Japan lately since COVID. because there have been issues in certain districts, especially where the anime and manga is. Or, some of the maid cafes have gotten, some of them have been taken over by the mob, and they've been offering more than, as they say, some of the fun that you get out of a maid cafe, a little bit more on the side, as they say. But I want to hear from you. I want to hear comment from you and let me know your thoughts to this situation. Should they let this go, the sex tourism? Should they continue to police it? Because there are laws in the U.S. that police sex tourism. That basically, if you're arrested overseas, you can get rearrested here in the U.S. Should we continue to push that? Or should we let it go aside? That's up to, like I said, lawmakers and the voters. So, comment, like, share, and hopefully today's the day I've earned your subscription. So until next time, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye now.